Hello, it's Judith here. And continuing our theme for the rest of November, which is Christmas, and the things that cause us problems at Christmas. So Monday I talked about time or lack of it. Today I'm going to talk about money or the lack of it. And money is always a very difficult, thorny topic, isn't it? And I suppose we all, to a certain extent, try to make things appear as good as possible and not talk about money difficulties. But I think for many of us, we're going to have to do so this year. So I think my first message to you about money is don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. If you are worried about the cost of Christmas and if you want to be able to really enjoy Christmas, knowing that you have managed that worry, you have managed the money that you've spent over Christmas, rather than just going ahead and spending what you normally spend, which will be a lot more than you spent last year because things are a lot more expensive and hugely more expensive than the year before, and then be in a state of stress and overwhelmed because you're now worried about how all of this is going to be paid for come the new year. So don't be embarrassed about it. Don't feel ashamed about it. Feel proud of yourself if you decide to tackle it and to make some changes so that you can have and enjoy a Christmas that you can afford. And this may involve having certain difficult conversations with other people in order to change the way things are done. As families, we get into a habit, or even as individuals, we get into a habit of what we do each year and how we do Christmas. So, present buying becomes habitual. Who do you buy for, who do you don't, how much do you spend, and how you do Christmas in terms of food and beverages and all the rest of it. So there's a certain degree of expectation every Christmas that it's going to be the same, because that's what we like. We like the familiarity of it. We've probably brought some of the things we do at Christmas from our parents, and so it reminds us of childhood Christmases. But if in the current horrendous situation where prices are the way prices are, my next door neighbour, because she's a glass maker and has her own kilns, she very carefully checks her electricity use, and the price rise was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. She sort of compared what she's paying now per whatever it is unit we pay for electricity in, and it was, you're talking not just 100%, but I think it was about 400%. I don't know, but it shook me, and it really shocked me. So what can you do about it? First of all, as I say, don't be feeling ashamed, don't feel embarrassed. Be very honest with yourself. And then, as I say, you're probably going to have to be honest with others about what you can afford to spend for Christmas. And this is taking into account how much debt you could carry over into the new year. So credit cards are wonderful and very easy to spend money on, but I would suggest that do not incur more debt than you are absolutely confident you can pay off in a reasonable amount of time in the new year. And if you already have some debt, as a lot of us do, then you're going to have to be even more careful about adding to that debt. And probably your plan should be, depending on how bad it is, to not incur any more debt. So in the Monday video, and we were talking about time, and I said write down all the things you have to do and then plan when you're going to do them. I think you could use that list as a sort of start of working out the finances. So yes, presents have got to be bought. So who do you buy presents for? How much do you pay for those presents? In terms of the wider family friend arena, it might be time to have some conversations about stopping giving presents to certain people, or reducing what you spend, or even suggesting amongst a group, even your family, that you do a Secret Santa. And there are some notes that go with this, so you don't have to remember it all if you want to remember it all. But I think it's reasonable to assume that everybody is in the same boat. Some people have more money than others, but for everybody, they have spent this year a lot more money on just living, paying for accommodation, however you're paying for it, and buying food and buying necessary clothes. You know, that has just all cost us so much more. So I hope you will not be met with some sort of reaction that you're anticipating, that people think, oh, they've obviously screwed up their money, or maybe they lost their job, or whatever, because you can just say, look, we all know how much things have gone up, so why don't we? And it's a sort of we thing. And I think you'll find that people you approach about changing present arrangements will be relieved, a lot of them, because they've probably been thinking the same thing, and were not brave enough to raise the topic. When it comes to children, particularly your own children, it's a bit more difficult. But see it as an opportunity, certainly with the older children, to introduce them to the need to be careful about finances, to plan what you're going to spend, and not to allow yourself to get into debt. So I think with older children, sort of, early teens upwards, it's reasonable having a conversation and telling them what's been going on, not in great detail because they'll get bored quickly, and why, and therefore things are going to be different this Christmas. How they're going to be different, you're going to have to decide, but maybe reduce the amount that you're spending on children. And that's hard because we want to give them a wonderful Christmas and the presents that they want, but at what expense, at what cost? At months after Christmas of worrying about how you're going to pay off the debts you've incurred in order to do that, if that's an issue. I mean, obviously, if money's not an issue for you, you probably will have stopped this video about 5 minutes ago. So yes, have some difficult conversations with kids, and with younger ones, you're going to have to manage expectations there as well. And if you're entertaining, there's some suggestions here as well. Obviously, you're going to do the sensible things. You're going to maybe have been buying bits and pieces as you go, particularly if the special offers on. The Black Friday going on all of November as far as I can see. So take advantage of that for things that obviously won't perish before the 25th of December. And when you are buying the perishables, look around. Maybe that, this year for many people it's going to be a balance between money and time, because they're probably busy because they're working harder than ever to try and afford everything, and they won't be able to afford everything, and shopping around takes time. But be sensible about what you buy and where you buy it, and maybe make some changes, depending on what you're hosting. Is what's the cheapest meat you could have for Christmas? Does it have to be turkey? Why you make a change, have something that's cheaper. Just say you're fed up with turkey and you want to do something different. Or if you're doing an evening party and a buffet or something, just look for the cheapest options. Who is it that's advertising at the moment saying that, I think it might be Lidl saying that their stuff is or it might be Aldi, saying that their stuff is as good in taste tests as Marks and Spencer's. So yeah, try it. Just shop around. If you do Christmas Day or some major entertaining for the family, particularly over Christmas, and you've always done it, maybe it's time you stopped. There's almost certainly somebody else who could be doing it. And if there isn't, and again, this is going to be a really hard conversation, but I know people who say, Oh, I really wish we could just spend Christmas Day together, just us and the kids, you know, and we could eat what we wanted. We don't have to do the turkey and all the trimmings. And we could stay in our pajamas all day and just do what we want to do. And it sounds like heaven to me. So maybe have a different Christmas and don't do the entertaining. Perhaps you want to ask if somebody else would like to do it. But if you really fancy a down day for Christmas, if you've been particularly busy leading up to Christmas, that may sound like a good idea. So be a bit creative, be a bit inventive. And I think work out what you can spend. Work out how you want to divide that between the different things you're going to spend money on. And, you know, get rid of the things that are least important to you, or at least reduce them, and spend the most that you're going to spend on the things that are important to you. So, for instance, combining the two, if what you give the children for Christmas is more important than holding Christmas Day at your house and having to do all the work and spend all the money, then do say what we want to do this year is just spend it as a family. We'll celebrate with you on another day, but we're going to just be on our own. So you've cut out the costs of that Christmas dinner, and you can spend it on the kids if that's what you want to do. You might want to do it the other way around. So it needs a bit of planning. I know I'm on about planning again, but it needs a bit of planning and a bit of thought. So not just buying and doing what you normally do, thinking about it, making some changes, and for the money you do have to spend, spending it wisely and on the things that matter to you. It's not about other people, it's about you. And it's about you having as relaxed and happy a Christmas as you can, because guess what? That makes it a good Christmas for everybody else. And if you're stressed by rushing around and trying to do it as cheaply as possible, but still doing it and worried about the fact that you are overspending, you're not going to have a good Christmas, and neither are the people around you. So the important thing is not how much money you've spent and who's got what presents and what delicious food people are having to eat. The important thing is that you are happy and the people around you are happy and able to enjoy it. And on that point, I shall wish you a very early happy Christmas. And as always, if any of this has struck a chord and you really don't know where to start, I'm happy to chat on the phone and do whatever I can to help you and have the Christmas that you want to have. And maybe start with that. What sort of Christmas do I want to have? And does it have to be as expensive as it might have been in past years? Okay. I shall be back again on Monday. You're going to be bored with me by the end of November. I'll take a break over Christmas, I promise. And I think we're going to talk about anxiety, and all of these things are muddled up together. Time and money, as I say, have to be balanced against one another. And anxiety comes out of all of this, not having enough time, not having enough money. And if you're naturally anxious anyway, then things can get worse at this time of year. So we're going to talk about that on Monday. And again, there'll be a little free gift. This time, it's some notes from me. Just some ideas, they may sound totally crazy to you, but just some ideas of things I have done or have thought of doing. Okay then, until Monday, have a good weekend. Maybe take some time out for a bit of self-care and to do a bit of planning, both in terms of time and money. And they work quite nicely together, I think. But until then, just take care of yourself. Bye.